And you're happy with the way he settled here in Melbourne?
Yeah, hasn't stepped a foot wrong in the time that he's been here. He's had 2 looks at the course proper and been very comfortable both times. So, you know, the change in direction hasn't posed an issue for him at all, and you know, he'll be, as I say, one of the main chances.
Well, he's always confident, Anthony Cummings, but even by his standard, he seemed confident there, didn't he?
And he did mention one of the important things there was how tricky the start is, the 1400 metre start at Caulfield. It's a tricky start, particularly for a horse like Smart Missile, who hasn't raced in Melbourne before, let alone at Caulfield. So confident, but still a little bit of caution there, I thought, Nick.
And obviously the barrier 17 is going to be, I would suggest, a major problem.
Well, I think it really opens the race up. I think he would be a lot shorter odds if he drew, say, gate 3 or gate 4. But him being out in the car park, I think really opens up the race. And I think it is now anyone's race, even though he is the best horse in it.
Is that what you mean by tricky start? Is that what a tricky start is?
Well, drawn out, but also where the 1400 starting point is at Caulfield. They've got a short run before the first turn, so you really want to have your order sort of settled. You want to have a position taken up by the time you get to that first turn, because otherwise you can be caught wide there.
Okay. Well, should we take a look at the early markets thanks to Sporting Bet?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, no surprises with Smart Missile here, leading the charge at $3.40, followed by Wurrum at $4.20, Pinwheel at $8, Blackie $11, Dreamaway $13, and Turak Toff sitting nicely there at $15.
One thing that the Melbourne Spring Carnival's become famous for is the international flavour, with a lot of raiders normally coming for the cups and possibly the Cox Plate, but John Moore's got his sprinter Silver Gresham out here for Saturday's race, and I believe you caught up with John at Werribee?
Spoke to John's son George Moore, in fact, there. John doesn't fly out until late this evening to see Silver Gresham and Mighty High, who are both running at Caulfield on the weekend. They're the earliest of the internationals to be here, and this is what George had to say leading up to Saturday's races.
In the Rupert Clark Stakes, you mentioned Silver Grecian there, who's running. He won a 1600 metre race at Shah Tin most recently, and he's drawn pretty well in 4.
Yeah, great gate. He's going to probably sit midfield to back of the field. It's a big step up from the Class 1 race to a Group 1, but the way he's working, he's just really coming. His form's really come in now. He's just working the house down every morning. His gallops in Hong Kong I thought were really good, and he's just improved, you know, every day since then. And he's just thriving over here in the environment over here. We give him graze every day, and you know, compared to the environment over Hong Kong, where most of the time they're, you know, in cement cells all day, they're out here and they're in the grass and they're picking and they're, you know, they're nice and fresh. He's a super fresh horse right now, which is great. And as I said, it's a big step up to Group 1, but I'm expecting him still to run a really good race.
Now, Nick, I believe you've got an interest in this race.
I've got an interest in every race. It should be another interesting race, and I love horse racing.
Play your hand, Nick.
I'm holding aces.
All right, let's have a look at everyone's selections here. Starting with you, Nick, you have gone with Blackie. Surprise, surprise. Edward, Wurrum?
Yeah, Wurrum, Nat, yep.
Why did you pick Wurrum?
Just because I think it's drawn a lot better, well, obviously drawn a lot better than Smart Missile. Wurrum's in 5, Smart Missile's in 17. Really good win at Moonee Valley 2 weeks ago, and should step up well here.
Okay, I've chosen Pinnacles. I know that it's a long way out, but I have a good feeling about it.
Speaking of pinnacles, would Cameron be the pinnacle of our special guests we've had so far on the show?
Okay, so Nick, I'll let you take over from here.
It's a bit cheeky, isn't it?
He's all about cheek, this one.
Not a very respectful way to treat the co-host.
I'll get him back with our studio guest later, don't worry.
Outstanding. Well, race 5 on Saturday is the Caulfield Guineas Prelude over 1400 metres. It's going to be a cracking race. And Natalie, you've got the early market in front of you.
I sure do. Okay, so starting off with Helmet at $2.90. Golden Archer at $3.80. Chase the Rainbow, $7. And that's the one at $8.
Yes, well, you touched on Helmet. He's not only the favourite for Saturday's race, but in my opinion, he's the most interesting runner for the day. He's extremely talented, but does a lot wrong, and you caught up with his trainer. Spoke
to Paul Snowden through the week here at Flemington on the chances of Helmet.
He's been here once before. We just had a barrier mishap. He got scratched at the gates for the size, but he's like a duck to water down here. He knows where he's going, and you know, very relaxed himself, and he's in very good order.
Okay, let's have a look at everyone's selections for this race. So starting off with you, Nick, you've chosen Helmet. Along with you, Edward, you've also gone with Helmet, and I've gone for Cross of Gold.
My reason for going for Helmet is he's easily the most talented horse in the race. He's got some issues, but once the Snowden camp sort that out, I think he'll be almost unbeatable this campaign.
I agree with you there, Nick, but the only thing is too, he does come across some really smart 3-year-olds in the race. That's the one from the Colin and Cindy Alderson stable. Has shown plenty of potential in his couple of starts that he's had. He was scratched at Flemington last time, but he had a gallop at Caulfield a couple of weeks ago, so he's familiar with the track. And there are a couple of other really good 3-year-olds in the race. Golden Archer's no dud.
What about not in the race? Will the winner of the Caulfield Guineas definitely come from this race? Or could it be an outside chance?
Not necessarily. There are different form lines that the Guineas winners come through, but obviously the Guineas preludes are outstanding indicators to
Smart
the actual
Missile?
Guineas.
Yeah, it does depend on what he does, in my opinion, in the Rupert Clark on Saturday as to whether they go to the Guineas. I'm pretty sure that's been his main aim for the whole preparation, so you would think he'd go from the Rupert Clark into the Guineas.
Okay, well that wraps up the Melbourne preview for Caulfield, but don't go away because when we return we're going to be joined on the couch by a very special guest, Melbourne model and racehorse owner Elli Johnson. You're watching Chewing the Fat thanks to Sporting Bet.
Caulfield Guineas October 8. Book early bird tickets now.
Welcome back to Chewing the Fat. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. I'm now joined on the couch by my co-host Natalie Hunter and leading Melbourne model Elli Johnson. Elli, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, good. I fought off the other boys to keep doing the interview, so that's good. Now, Elli, last Wednesday you were spotted out at Sandown to cheer on a horse called Backbone, who you've got a share in. Tell us about him.
We bought Backbone in New Zealand at the start of the year. Is it at the Cracker Sales?
That's very well pronounced.
He's 2 years old. He didn't have a very great start last Wednesday, but we have champion horse trainer Mick Kent training him. So we have faith that Backbone will be a champion horse eventually.
And so you've got a syndicate going with a...
Yeah, there's a few people in there. I don't really know all of them, but I know a few of them really well, so it's good. And he's been nominated for the Caulfield Guineas, so let's see.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Have to back him.
And you've got about 15 horses in the syndicate, don't you? So you've got a couple of bullets?
Yes.
And have many of them raced yet, or is
No, they're all 2 or 3 years old, so they're all going to be up and coming.
You used a very good line to me the other day when you said they're all champions till they race.
That's exactly right.
Now, Backbone, if I recall correctly, was very well backed on debut. It was about $11 into $6 on course.
Yes.
Started favourite, got back to last and sort of did stay there. Did a few of you leave your money in the bookmaker's bag?
No.
No, you didn't bet. So
I didn't bet.
You didn't bet.
I missed out on getting to the actual, what do you call it?
Sporting Bet.
Yeah, all the betting ring. So you didn't get to the betting ring.
Yeah,
so,
that's it.
So you saved your money.
Yeah, I was too busy just helping Mick with the prep.
Just basically strapping the horse, were
Yeah.
you? Oh, there we go. That might be.
Taking photos of him.
So you really get involved with it
Yeah,
all.
it's really great.
Are you a horse person?
I am a horse person now. I never was, but now I just love them more than anything. They're so beautiful.
And I'm sure you're hoping that a few of the horses do feature in the big days over the Flemington, Caulfield and Moonee Valley Carnivals?
Definitely. It's very exciting, as you know.
Yes, no, I do enjoy going to the races occasionally. Now, you're quite tied up in the fashion side of it, obviously. Over the spring, have you got a few days marked where you're going to be going to the races?
I am going to Stakes Day only this year, purely because it's my best friend's wedding in Queensland on Derby Day.
So you've got the Emirates Stakes. You've obviously worked out 6 weeks in advance you're going to be there.
Yes.
Before you have a bet and you buy the champagne, although I'm sure blokes are lining up to buy you the champagne, so that's not an issue. How much money would it cost to make yourself look all dolled up and go to the races?
I think there's two ways to do it. You can do it definitely on the cheap, and you can do it like you can really do it, as I'm sure you know, Natalie. But I would say around $1,000 to $1,500 once you've got your dress, your shoes, your bag, your hat, your makeup, your hair.
That is extraordinary, up to $1,500. I think us blokes who just throw the suit on.
If you start backing our tips, it's not extraordinary, is it?
It pays for itself, obviously.
Exactly.
But for those people that haven't cottoned on to Chewing the Fat just yet, which there's a couple apparently, but we'll get to them. So if you go how many times? 6 times over the carnival. Do you do that 6 different times, spend $1,500?
I think there's ways for girls to get around it.
Yeah.
You know, we're always getting new dresses, and you can always compensate dresses for another event or another birthday.
Exactly.
You're quite famous for your modelling. Some of your pictures, I think the boys would say, are a little bit risque and we all enjoy it. What's it like taking some of those shots?
First of all, famous? I don't think so. I'm definitely no Miranda Kerr or Jennifer Hawkins.
I'm sure they disagree.
The photos, it's fine. Like, as long as you feel comfortable with the people you're working with and you respect yourself at all times, then it's all good.
And your dad or your brothers don't give you a bit of a rev up about them sometimes?
No, luckily my family, I think, is my #1 supporter. They're always first to put me in the place if they're unhappy with something, and I guess with some shoots they're a little bit frustrated, I guess, with the fact that people see certain things and stuff like that, but I guess it's just something they have to deal with.
Don't view them for the artistic.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, you're very heavily involved in charity, and you've got some charity events coming up.
Yes.
Tell us about them.
Okay, so I work with 3 foundations. The Asthma Foundation, which is very close to my heart because I lost my brother to asthma in 1999. So I'm all about creating awareness and promoting their brand. Also been working with the Sacred Heart Mission, which is in St Kilda, and that's also close to me because I live in St Kilda, and it's, you know, it's confronting to realise how close poverty and homeless people are towards you. And this Sunday, I'm working with Teddy Whitten and Joe Hasham for the E.J. Whitten Poker Foundation, which is for prostate cancer and bowel cancer, and that's also close to my heart because my dad lost both of his parents to bowel cancer. So all monies raised this weekend will go towards both of the foundations.
Well, Elli, that's absolutely outstanding what you do. You're not only one of Melbourne's top models, you're one of Melbourne's top citizens. So thank you for joining us, but would you be able to stick around and help us read some of the fun and quirky mail that we get sent in?
Of course, already got my emails ready.
That's outstanding. So, Natalie, would you like to get the
I'll get
ball rolling with
rolling.
some of your fan mail?
Okay, so the first one's from Mark in Bondi, and he says, great choice of guest last week in Andre Casse. His insight into speed and tempo were great. So that was really good. That was a really good interview. And our second little piece of fan mail we have here is the track work insight with Edward is great. Love the show, from James of Moorabbin. So that's all good.
Excellent. What about you, Elli? What do you got for the battlers?
This one's from Samantha in Brighton, Victoria. Lay off Edward Sadler. He might look young, but he sure knows what he's talking about. My girlfriends and I were wondering if he's available to be our personal tipster on Oaks Day this year.
Edward Sadler, you slitherer. If you're looking for Edward, he's quickly just running to the car now, I think. So a little bit going on there. Natalie, have you got anything else for the battlers?
No, Elli.
I've got one more.
You do?
Hey gang, love the show. The tips are great. After watching Nick Quinn's hair reckon, helmet is the omen tip for the Caulfield Guineas. Cheers, Brent Darlinghurst.
They're bagging your hair again.
Yes, the hair does get a lot of attention.
It's nice hair. It looks very good.
Well, it's good. If I'm ever riding a push bike and I fall off, you know, I'm safe as houses.
All right, you've got a couple to read through there, Nick.
I have got a couple.
Dion from Kenmore in Queensland. You got that one there?
Yes, I've got that right here in front of me. Is it just me, or is there a little bit of a love connection going on the couch last week with Natalie and one of the studio guests?
They're talking about you and I. Aw, that's so sweet,
I'm
Nick.
not sure if I would be classed as a studio guest, Natalie. So no, I don't think they are talking about me. So should we? Elli would like to know what that could be in reference to.
I'm not sure, but I think it's time to go to a break. So perhaps people will have to tune into last week's show and have a look.
Well, those shoes you're wearing do look quite sharp and probably could hurt, so I don't think I'll provoke you any further. But when we return, Edward Sadler and I will take you through all the major racing in Sydney on Saturday. You're watching Chewing the Fat.